Hey guys, Catherine here. I wanted to show you what I am doing today. I have decided to try my hand at making puzzle boxes. So I've got a bunch of pieces cut here and I'm ready to assemble, and I'll tell you about all of those in just a second. But the finished product should end up looking like this. A box that is sealed on all sides with no outward indication of how it actually should be opened. It's got misdirecting uh, a misdirecting lip here, like it looks like it should flip open here, but it doesn't. That's glued down solid. And I'm going to show you how I made this. I have got all of my pieces, well, mostly cut already. This is a piece, this one's going to end up a little bit bigger than this one, but this is a piece that is 4.5 inches wide, and then it's got a lip here that can hang over as far as you want it to, and then not as far as you don't, if you don't want it to hang any further. And then this one is going to be 2 inches front to back and 3 inches tall. So it goes 2 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches. And then I've taken and I've drawn lines. Let's see, this is 3/8 of an inch from the side, and then another line the width of my cardboard from that. So I've done that on both sides all the way down, and then on the left side I've taken and cut that section out for the 2-inch one that's going to make up the section of the bottom, because this will be the front and this will be the back and this will be the top. So I've cut that portion out, though I drew those lines all the way along both sides because that's going to be important. Now I've got some very thin cut pieces of cardboard, and I've got 2 pieces of cardboard that are 2 inches by 3 inches, and those are going to make our ends. And I've got some thicker pieces of cardboard for embellishing with, because part of the trick of a puzzle box is not only the misdirection of the front where it looks like it can be lifted open and it can't, but also hiding the place that does let you open it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take these thinner pieces and glue them on all the way down, right along those lines, so that the space in between the lines is left still on both sides. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is just start cutting it to size, and I want the front and back pieces to be slightly shorter than the front and back. That way when I fold it into a box shape, it doesn't hit the side ones. There we go, and I will just make 2 of that, and 2 of these will make up one side of one of these sections. So this is gonna, that's why I've got this many strips cut out. There we go. And then that one's going to want to be 2 inches exact. And actually I might get, yeah. So I want to maximize the use of these. So I'm going to, let's see, that one's going to want to be the same length as these. And they should be, those are maybe 1/8 of an inch less on either end, so 1/4 of an inch less than 3 inches, at a guess. Go, and I'm just going to go through and cut all of the ones that I need of this length to this length. Go, it should be quick enough because I only need 8 of them. 4, 5, no wait, 2, 4, 6. Haha, see, I wasn't counting the one in my hand. 7, 8. So that should give me 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, that's enough of those. And then 2-inch ones to fit in these sections, also 8 of them. So we'll just line it up on my cutting mat here and cut 2 inches. And then once I've got one, I can just measure the rest of them to it. Yep, that might even be a little bit short, but that's okay. That piece is definitely too short. And then once I've got them all cut to length, I will glue them all down. That way the glue can be hardening while we are doing other things. Go 3, 4, 5, and then that one's too short. Oh, those are getting shorter. That's not good. May have to end up recutting some of those. We shall see. I'll just cut as many as I can from this and then use ones that fit best. Okay. Alright, and then glue everything down. I'm just using tacky glue. It doesn't dry super quick, but that's what's happening. It's just going to have to be allowed to dry on its own, which is fine. Alright, and then line it up with the side. And do the same thing all the way along. Go. There we are. And then once I've finished making this, I will show you how to open that puzzle box, the one that's already assembled, although by the time I'm finished making it, you'll probably have figured it out. And it's a very simple and easy one, not only to make, but simple puzzle, which is sometimes the most stumping, which I think is even more fun. I've been looking at puzzle boxes lately and I really like them. I think they are very fun to try and figure out, fun to make, fun to challenge your friends to figure out. All in all, I really like the idea, and you can hide things in them, which has the potential for a lot of amusing antics. For instance, I want to make puzzle boxes for my friends for their birthdays, and then of course give them the puzzle box itself because it will be part of their present, but also put their present inside of the puzzle box. That way they have to figure the puzzle box out in order to get their birthday present. Which is maybe a little bit mean, but also just a lot of fun. Just a little bit mean. Just a little bit. Go and I've already covered the other side of this with paper because it's easier to cover it when it's flat. It just is. But you can cover it afterward or wrap it afterward if you want to. I just always find it easier to glue the paper onto things that you're going to be folding before you fold them. That's just generally a good tip. There we go, and then the other side. And I haven't seen anyone do one exactly in this style, but I also am absolutely certain that one of this style already exists, a puzzle box, I mean. So don't be too surprised if you go looking for puzzle boxes and see ones like this. I wouldn't be surprised. It's not complicated. It's simple, and that in and of itself leads me to think that other people would have thought of it first. So I would not at all be surprised if they had. Go. All right. Glue. And stick it down. The important thing is that it lines up with the lines. I don't mind if it gets glue other places. The glue dries clear. And it's going to be mostly on the inside of the box anyway, which you aren't going to really be able to see well from the outside because of the way that it opens. Go. All right, last set. There we go. Okay, and then those are going to want to harden and dry for a second. So we will set this up here. And then what we're going to want to do is take our two sides and take a bit of one of these embellishment ones and cut it to 2 inches, the same width as one of the sides. There we go. And now we're going to want to take this and run a pretty substantial bead of glue along it. On the wrong side, if your cardboard has a wrong side, and my cardboard does, one side is printing and one side it doesn't, and of the ones that I didn't cover in paper, I want the side that doesn't have printing to be on the outside. So then take and set that straight up and down in the glue so that it sort of stands up. And we're going to have to let that set aside and dry on its own for quite a while. So I'm going to set that over here and lean it against a bottle of paint, just so that it continues to be standing up as it's drying. Then we are going to want to take our remaining side, and if this has set enough, and it may have, I don't trust it yet. We'll go for it. Okay. If this is set enough, we'll be able to run glue down on the side that doesn't have the slit in it. So the other side all the way down between, oh, see, that one totally wiggled. Okay, we will give it another second. set it aside, and in that case we're going to cut this one to the same width as the bottom of the box, because we're going to need a second piece for the second side, but we're not gluing this one onto the side. So we're going to do the two sides differently, which was probably very apparent when I cut a hole into one side and not in the other side, but it's going to open up from the side. And actually, while that's drying, this is a good time to show you the one that I've already finished. So it opens up from the side, but that side is in and it's entirely surrounded and solid. Well, as solid as cardboard ever is anyway. And the same thing goes for the other one. In and entirely surrounded and as solid as cardboard ever is. So, how are we going to get the side out? Well, it all has to do with that slit that we cut in the bottom on the left-hand side. The glued in, well, the end piece that's glued to the end, ooh, that one came apart. That's okay. It still is effective. Slides in and out of that slot, and when you slide it out, your box is open. So it opens from the bottom, and then this end is where you can access the contents. And that is how you open and close your puzzle box. So you can probably see how we're going to be putting the rest of this together. The end of this popped off, but that is because the tacky glue doesn't really want to stick well to the smooth printing of this. It's like coated in a plastic or a clay or something that prevents it from sticking. So I am going to go ahead and, well, I will use super glue, but I want to score the bottom of this glue real quick just to roughen it up a little bit and give the super glue a place to grab onto, give it some purchase. There we go. All right, and then I will put my super glue onto the bottom of the tacky glue because it held onto the raw cardboard just fine. It was just the printed side that doesn't want to stick, which I kind of suspected was going to happen before I even did it, but whatever. And that does mean that that other one I'm going to have to re-glue as well, but that's all right. I'll do it once the original glue dries. That way it's got a foundation of glue also. And glue myself to it. I'm just going to let this super glue set up a little bit, and then I'll slide it back into the bottom of that puzzle box. But maybe the glue on the one that we're assembling has dried enough that we can get on with working with it. Let's have a look. Okay, so that was the last one that we did, and that is still wiggly. Okay. Well, we're working with it anyway. Too bad. It just needs to, it'll end up in place anyway. It's on the solid side, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to take some more tacky glue and run it in between the cardboard runners all the way down. And now we're going to shape it into a box. Actually, before we do that, we're also going to take and run tacky glue all over the front lip of this. And now that I'm looking at it, I don't like this tab part. So I'm going to cut that off real quick. I've changed my mind about it. I don't like it. So I'll take some scissors and just trim that off. Much better. Okay, and now to assemble the box, we're going to start at the off end with the outward facing side facing outward and settle it in between the two, and then fold it up and it'll be settled in between those two. And I haven't folded this before. I probably should have pre-folded it, but that's okay. It'll work out. And then up there, and then down like that. Okay, and then what I want to do is take a rubber band and wrap it around the end so that it stays in the box shape while it's drying. And I would prefer one to be on either side of the end piece one of the wraps of the rubber band to be on either side of the end piece. That way it distributes the weight of the rubber band, the force of the rubber band evenly. And I'm going to want a little bit more glue under there because it's lifting, the paper's lifting away from the printed side of the cardboard. Because I let it fully dry before I folded it. And then you see that the front flap has been glued down. The closed end is fully closed and glued in. So the only opening possible is this end. I am going to take another rubber band and wrap it around this end though, because I want that to stay in place while the rest of this is drying. Rubber bands are like clamps. Sometimes you just have to keep putting more clamps on. Okay, and then what we're going to do while that's drying and while the other piece is drying and setting up, we're going to take our end piece and line it up with the end. So one of them is going to end up this far away, so I need to put it about that far away from that end. That way it's got some feet, some runners that it's standing on in order to hide where the opening is, where the slit is, so that it matches on both sides. So I'll take and put some more glue on the off side of this piece. And set it on. And then I will set the rubber band over the top of it so that it holds it in place. Maybe that side of it's awfully tight. I think I will use the other one. There we go. So that'll just hold it in place while it's drying. And then the other one will also match. And then if I want to, I can also put runners on the front as well, so that it gets like that, so that it all squares up and meets and you can't tell. And then once this is dry, I'll go back through and I will draw on it. Draw maybe like a keyhole or some embellishments with pens like is on this one. But that's it. That's how I made this puzzle box, and that's how this puzzle box is going to get finished up. If you guys liked it, please do like it. And if you want to see more videos like this, you can go ahead and subscribe, because I make tons of things. I'm constantly making things, and I am happy to share them. Oh, and that super glue is dry enough that I can put this back in now, and it just slides back in and disappears. And your end is sealed. Anyway, that's how I made these puzzle boxes, and I was happy to share it with you. And I will see you guys later. Bye!